Hello, and welcome to the Spirit Hunters podcast. I'm Lance White Eagle, and with me for this episode are
Chrissy,
Hunter,
Lisa,
Shane. And today we are going to be talking about our investigation at the Seth M Gates house in Warsaw, New York. So Shane, you want to give us a little bit about how we ended up at the Seth Gates house?
well, I was actually looking up the Warsaw Hospital and found that they were connected to them. It turns out that Barb is friends with Barb Morrissey and runs the Historical Society there. And that's how I found out about them. The house was built in 1824, so it's actually 200 years old. Very old house.
And you want to talk a little, who was Seth Gates?
Seth Gates was an entrepreneur, but he was an abolitionist. I keep saying that wrong for some reason today. And he did a lot to help with the Underground Railroad. This was documented, because a lot of people say, well, they were part of the Underground Railroad. This place was actually documented. And he did a lot for African American rights, a lot for women's rights, but he did a lot to help a lot of people. And he was very outspoken about it, especially to the Southern congressmen and people like that. And he got into a lot of trouble. Some people had death threats against him. And
I don't actually know if Shane just mentioned this because my mind just went totally for a second. What's his connection to the hospital? Did he help fund it, or
he started it? I think he had a lot to do with that. He had a lot to do with a lot of stuff in that town. We should say on that original property, which was I think 5 or 6 acres, there's now an apartment building. It used to be a hospital. It was there.
Yeah, they almost touched the house.
It was the
first one that area.
He had a lot to do with that. That is also said to be a possible reason for a lot of the spiritual activity that's happened there, because it wasn't just him and his house. This, 20 feet away is this old hospital, so it could be that.
And let's see, we got there. We got there a little late for some reason. You guys were already there, the car.
Well, the traffic. You guys got stuck in Elkinville.
Oh, was that when there was all the there was some
festival or something?
They were having their festival.
Yeah.
Can't get there hardly.
And we thought we'd take the back way. We were like, "Ha, suckers! We'll go the back way around." But
and
then the back way, you still have to turn into 219 eventually, and we just sat
I
there
somehow
forever.
made it through right before the festival started. You guys must have got there within 10 minutes of the festival.
Oh,
I mean, I left early too to get gas.
No, I think that's the wrong way. I think you guys are thinking something totally different. I think that was the the toy craft, the train
Oh, it
thing.
was.
So
I don't know
that's
that elegant.
Screw everything we just said.
Where
Then
you
I
go
don't know.
the other way,
Oh, that's
to
true.
Cuba, Belfast.
I don't know what, but I know we got there. You guys had already unloaded the
It wasn't too
car.
late.
It wasn't. It was
No.
a few minutes after. But
Yeah.
we had unloaded, and I was actually putting up cameras when you guys got there.
Yeah. I'm not sure why though.
We.
I don't remember putting up
Happens.
cameras.
And Mom's not sitting in on this one because she could have. Maybe Mom got sick or something like
Could have
that.
been.
I don't know. But so did you guys get anything when you first started setting up? Because I know with a lot of these, as we're getting the stuff out, it seems like things get
Are testing the
curious.
equipment, Yeah. Well,
And when we
Yeah, the-
literally turn stuff on as we're getting it out, just
Yeah.
because of that.
Mhm.
the when you first walked in that room to the left, I think there was a piano in there.
Mm-hmm.
That cat ball was going off quite a bit, and Barb and some of the other people, Emily, they were there, pretty excited about it.
Well, in the beginning too, we put a cat ball on the fireplace and one on the table over there in the main. I don't know what you call that room. It's a cat or the dog room.
Oh, I remember the one on the fireplace was going on.
And that one answered a lot of questions
Yeah.
to Barb and I forget the other woman's name. I'm so sorry.
That was right under the portrait of
Seth Gates.
Seth Gates, yeah.
Seth Gates seemed to come across a lot. He seemed to be, at least of my stuff, the dominant
And then I was right in front of the
Great big
fireplace,
Pyrenees walking
and
by.
I got a lot of answers on the EMF
Yeah.
reader.
So,
They had the Christmas tree still up too, and we had another cat ball over there that was getting a lot of
Yeah.
action too.
we should mention too, today the Seth Gates House is a museum. It's open to the public, and you can even privately reserve it, I think she said, right? If you have a group that wants to come in.
Yeah, you can. At the Warsaw Historical Society, run that place.
Yeah.
Great bunch of people. Another one of those places where we gotta say, help out your historical society, support the Seth Gates House. It really means a lot to keep history alive.
Ask for Barb and tell him Spirit Hunter sent you.
Yep. And there's a lot of local history things that you would never know about, like, an abolitionist up here who was getting death threats and things like that,
Yep.
unless you go and check out these places. So the Seth Gates House, Warsaw, New York.
Yeah. And Seth Gates, I want a quick side note. He wasn't afraid to use the media to get his point across. I mean, I know that sounds like, well, what's the big deal? In that time period, it was a huge deal. He was putting his family and himself at risk, his life at risk,
Yeah.
and his businesses and all that other stuff. It's a big deal. And you gotta give him credit.
Yep. Also at the museum, they feature some things about local semi-pro and pro baseball.
Businesses, they had the button
businesses
factory
throughout
in
the-
town, different
They had a
other.
military room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So be sure to go, and if you're in the area or you're passing through, to stop by there. You can take your family through, and
And it was fascinating learning all the different history from the
Yeah.
Warsaw area.
yeah, a lot of these small towns, well, what are small towns now, had a major impact on this entire country.
Yeah.
Really, with
Yeah.
the manufacturing and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You guys hear in the background noise, this is my big old Great Pyrenees dog slurping up some water. In the background.
It's a ghost.
Yeah.
So once we got everything set up,
Sorry, that dog is
poor
He's a
dog.
puppy. He's barely 7
I
months
don't know
old,
if
but
they
he's
even hear it.
8
6
months.
months old. Chill.
8 months.
But, yeah.
Come here, Wolf. Come here. Let's
You
see him on
friend.
camera. Come here, baby dog.
Oh shit.
yeah.
Come
Going to 8
here,
months.
puppy. Come
Look
here.
at him.
Come here.
Oh,
Come here. Look at your face up here. Hey. Up. Look up. Look at the camera. He won't do it. You big floofball.
Yeah. Not even
Anyway,
here.
sorry.
I've
got
a
distracted
mole
there.
under my foot, too.
Yep. So
You see him walk by, just
we also had Tom and Tom's son, who's underage, so I don't know if we can.
We
Yeah,
won't
probably
say his
shouldn't
name.
Yeah.
yet.
Came to that investigation. It was Tom's son's first investigation, and he was very
Tickled.
excited and
Yeah.
Yes.
happy to be there. And we got some good stuff. It's always cool when somebody
New.
new, you kind of get to experience things through them, or for the people that are part of the groups and things who like to hang out when we're doing an
Yeah.
investigation. I think those.
Especially when
Well,
it's
for
one of
the-
those investigations where we actually get some cool
Some-
stuff,
yeah.
and they can
Well-
witness it because then it
And verify,
You know,
yeah.
That's the with this one and with the World War II museum, we found out things and they have the database of stuff and they were able to verify yes this
they had
stuff,
a paper trail to
stuff
back
that
it
we
up.
wouldn't have
you know?
known.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
they can verify it.
instant.
Oh, that was
Right there
a
and
really
then.
helpful thing. Barb could just
Yeah.
sit there and look up,
Mhm.
because
Like
everything they've
names,
ever
Yeah,
had,
we were
they
getting
documented.
names like what was
Lot of
Melissa
names.
Tipton or whatever, and we were looking up
Marissa,
that.
yeah.
Looked up that Sarah. We had a nice name for her, what we thought was a last name, but I don't
Yeah.
remember what it was exactly.
And then on one of my spirit box down in the basement, I came up with some last name called Birch.
Yeah.
Birch,
Oh,
yeah.
Birch.
I do
And they
remember that.
found a Birch family in their records for something. I can't
From
remember. what.
right there.
Yeah, she found a whole
Yeah.
bunch of stuff about the Birch family.
So, Lise, when you at every investigation, I just learned in our last podcast, you ask if you can use the rods and things like that. Did that go okay here?
Not at first.
No?
Not at first. Probably for the first hour. Like I said, I always ask the 3 questions: may I, can I, should I? Separately, of course. And all 3 times they said no. And so I have my backup rods. I pull those out. Same thing. No.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that in the last one. You got 2 sets now? Mm-hmm. Lisa's like coming in like a gunslinger, like holsters.
And they got mini ones. They got mini
she's
ones.
gonna get a set of
I
mini
want to get mini ones.
You know, excited. They got mini
I
ones.
still need to
You
get
know,
a
remember
set.
how she used to do those little creaky little miniature
Yeah.
hands?
I
Maybe
need
she
to
could get those.
I need to
little-
get
Yeah.
mini ones. So.
The little
yeah.
miniature hands are real popular on TikTok.
We actually-
you get some little mini hands and
Yeah.
mini rods.
Put them inside her sleeve.
Yeah.
That's why we decided to do the rods outside first, thinking that maybe we could get a different, and it did. She did her little can I may or whatever, and Seth Gates came through and was very talkative.
Really?
Mhm.
Outside?
Outside.
Well, you gotta think,
The first
all
thing
that
he
was his property at one
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
The first thing he showed us, he took us right to the addition of the house.
Yeah.
Because when he was alive, there was no addition.
Right, and he talked about that a couple different times. For some reason, that addition part he thought was kind of cool. You want to tell about let her tell, and I'll tell you what he said about the addition.
Yeah.
What he came up and.
I don't know. We were just talking. You know, he seemed like a really nice man.
Yeah.
Proud to show us his place.
Yeah. So we just did small talk and stuff, and he wanted to show us the rest of the property. And so what I do when I'm outside, I just walk. And when the rods cross is when I stop, and I'm just like, okay, so you know, whatever, what is here, you know.
And then she starts that line of questioning. Why are you having me stop here, kind of thing.
Yeah. So there was 2 things. One up in the corner by the tree. He said there's something buried there, some type of treasure. Don't know what it is.
And he said it
It's
wasn't
not
money or
his, yeah.
coins or jewels. It's
But back in the
something he
day,
treasures.
it could be anything, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second one, when we started going around the house, but still kind of in the front, the rods kept pointing. So I'm just like, well, maybe there was a door there, and there's no. So then Shane says, well, ask him if there's a body buried there. I'm like, I can't ask him if there's a body buried there.
Rude.
So he said, yeah, there's a
Because
body.
of her questioning and the way he was responding,
Yeah.
it seemed like he was trying to lead us to that question. That's why
Well, I mean, it'd be pretty common in that era. Just, you know, if a family
Yeah.
member or somebody dies, you just bury them on property.
Yeah.
well, remember what he said?
No.
He said that she's buried almost literally right below that right window on the left wing of the house, or the right wing of the house. He said it was not anybody related to him, it was somebody that owned the house after he did.
Oh.
He said, but when they built that addition, and of course she has to do this pretty much one night at a time,
Yeah.
yes or no questions, they almost dug her up. That's how close
Oh, jeez.
they were
Without even
coming.
realizing it.
Yeah.
Right, without realizing. He thought that was really fascinating. I got it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Well, I would admit, you know, you're a ghost, you're hanging out, you're watching people do construction on your house, and you're like, oh, are they gonna get that body?
You're like, you're
They're gonna get that body! Oh, it's close.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, they
ghost.
dug basement on
Yeah.
that part too, so that was, 5 feet away.
You mentioned the big tree outside. Didn't we have something with the tree when we were outside?
well, that's what I'm saying. We were out because
I know you and I were outside by that tree for some reason.
we went for a smoke break, but then for some reason we heard
Smoking
a
is
noise.
bad, don't smoke.
Yeah, don't smoke, kids. We
went
heard a noise
outside
or
for
something.
Fresh, contaminated air.
Yeah, we heard a noise. We went off to that side of the house. We're because on the side there's that little walkway thing.
Yeah.
We were sitting over there, and I don't remember what the noise was, but at that exact same time.
Oh. No, but before that, you and I were at that tree for something. I don't know why. You're talking about the big tree on like the
To the
corner
right.
of the
Yeah.
yard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I walked over to that tree and we were staying. This investigation was a little while ago, and we had a very busy end of year and
Yeah.
winter,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I can't remember, but I know just you and I,
For something.
for
that's
some
what I'm-
reason,
yeah, I
we were
don't-
under that tree talking about something.
We
I don't know if
pulled
we
the
heard a
footage back out
noise
and-
or if we.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Maybe
We had to
ended
have
up-
heard it. No, we did hear a noise. I thought it was the time we heard the noise and we heard Lisa radio to us about the noise they heard. maybe that's what it was.
Did we hear? Yeah, I think we heard a noise by the tree, and
And
we
we
walked
didn't-
over there, and then Lisa radioed.
Because by that time they're still figuring it out inside. They didn't radio to us yet, but we're already back there because we heard the same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So we heard this loud smack or bang or something, and didn't realize it at the same time.
That was
Keep
when
looking
we
at
were
the
hearing
TV
the
instead of the
rattling.
camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we found out they were just. So we went back there to, investigate to see if there was a window, maybe someone back
Yeah.
there knocking on a
Well,
window.
you guys
or whatever,
want to talk about, since we're on that, even though it happened later, what did you guys hear upstairs?
Do you wanna?
No, you can.
Because I don't even remember. I remember, was that the rattling we heard
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
in the,
Mhm.
like we couldn't, it was like, we weren't sure
There
if there
was-
was like a window or a
It was
vent or
something they
something up
closed
there.
off at one point. It had
Yeah,
this little
But it was like
hatch on
loud
it.
and the
kept
whole
hearing this,
wall
like,
Yeah.
was
yeah,
vibrating.
and we were trying to figure out like what this was, and that's when
Yeah.
you went out.
Yeah,
Um,
well, we were already out by the tree when you radioed, because we had heard something. We were already by that tree, and we could see the back of the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a panel that had been opened up on the wall, and you guys, that panel was shaking. So you radioed us to ask, is there a window behind this wall? Which there was not. And we were like, no, it's just solid
Wall.
building.
It's just a wall. Yeah.
Right, and we should say too that Emily, hello Emily, said that that was one of the things that multiple people said that they've heard, something rattling in that wall prior.
Well, we even, Hunter went behind the display and went up there and opened up that. It looks like they cut it out to access, to run electrical stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But there's nothing behind there.
Nope, nothing that could bang except for the paneling inside. But even then, what would
Well, but when
unlatch that enough and shake it?
when
hard
we
enough?
came up, you could see it started
It was
doing
still
again.
moving.
You could
Yeah.
see the door actually moving.
But how did we hear that from outside? It makes
Well,
me
we
wonder
did.
if we just
We couldn't have.
we heard something.
We heard something out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
odd.
We should know too, when Lisa and I were, she was doing the rods, and I'm following her around, he also tried to get us, Seth, he wanted to show us something at the hospital. 'Cause
I
he
was just gonna say that.
he was connected to that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what he was saying exactly, but
No, he just kept the Raj. He just kept pulling him
yeah.
to the right, and we just kept saying, "Oh, we can't go over there. It's not part of the property anymore." Because there's apartment buildings
Yeah.
over there.
Right, you can't go
Oh,
on.
you were telling me, and he kept saying yes.
Yeah.
You're like, we
But
can't
like,
go
just
there, and
go-
he's like, yes.
Yeah,
You're like,
like,
it's
yeah,
fine,
it's just-
yes, you
yes,
can
you
go.
can.
You're like, no.
No, we
like,
don't have permission.
And when we said we don't have permission to go there, to him it's his place.
It's his property.
You know,
Yeah, it was.
Then he took us to the back porch, and up on it, he was trying to get us to see something, but they have some storage there and stuff.
Yeah,
We never did figure out. I think it was a table or something. He was something there he wanted us
yeah.
to see. But like I said, he seemed like he was really just proud to
Showing
show
you
us
his, yeah,
the stuff.
yeah.
He also showed us when we went all around the other side, said something about a carriage house over there that was used to be over there or something. And I think that was about it for that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember you now. You were telling me about him kind of insisting, like, we can't go in the apartment. And he's like, yes, you can. I said you can. You can go.
I'm telling you,
Telling you, it's
you
fine.
can.
I got I can't even remember specifically like a lot of what I talked with him about in the main room. It was by the fireplace with his picture on it. Like
Yeah.
he was setting off the ball a little, and then he was like spiking my meter when I'd ask him questions, and I got the same like sense like he's super proud of like his house, like he's super
Yeah, look
proud
at
of,
what he built.
and
yeah.
he was just like. He was excited for us to be there. Like he liked all of our equipment. He liked
Yeah.
playing with the equipment, and
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
just like super
Not to
enthusiastic.
mention,
You know what else too?
his house is 200 years old.
Yeah.
I'd be pretty damn happy if my house was still standing after
Yeah.
200 years.
I think he was happy too with how the historical society was trying to remember
And
not
taking
just
care of
his stuff, but you could tell he was proud of his town.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in there quite a while because I remember you when I went in there once. I saw you interacting, and when I see somebody already having something like that, I'll back out because I don't want to be the one to interrupt
Yeah.
that flow. And then I came back in a little while later, and you were still going.
Yeah,
with
I
it.
need to find the video and rewatch that to see exactly like the questions, but we got like a lot of answers.
Well, you were asking him, is it okay for us to be here?
Mhm.
I remember that. And he was like, yeah. And you asked, do you like us being here? And he like set off the cat ball and like redlined the meter. He was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
He was like
yeah.
really interested in our equipment, the
Mhm.
electronic stuff. He
Oh,
thought it
and
was
the REM
really
pod
cool.
too. I think he was setting off the REM pod
Mhm.
too.
Yeah. Well,
one of them.
I mean, if he was funding and things with a hospital, he probably was. Of course, the technology was different, but he probably had a pretty keen interest in technology.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing us come in with all this like laser grids and stuff was probably like,
Exciting.
yeah, like, oh,
What is this?
That's really neat.
What does that do? You know? Yeah, we had some cool stuff. We started with, I ended up doing that spirit box upstairs. Because remember they were telling us, I think it was Emily was saying, when you go up the stairs, you got the 2 rooms to the right and the back one where all the uniforms are. Figured we'd get some activity, and then something happened when we were setting up-ish, kind of right after. That happened in that corner that made me want to go over there and try this. One, I'm a veteran, so I thought, maybe we can get them to talk. I don't remember every detail, but I remember hearing some. You guys asked something, if like maybe along the lines that he was a veteran or something.
Yeah, he said he was a veteran. In between, it was after the Vietnamese war. Something to do with Japanese. Said something about Japanese EO. I don't know.
Japanese EOD,
EOD.
which is explosive ordnance device or disposal.
He wasn't in any actual war, but he had some kind of
He was something with that, and
over there.
maybe like Cold War era
probably
could be.
And we didn't even realize it, but there was a Japanese uniform right behind where I was. Well, in that corner,
Yeah.
you know, a few feet
Oh.
away. So I thought, you know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously some more stuff we got
And while he was
out there,
doing that
but like
too,
you
we
said,
were
it was
getting-
so far back, I don't remember all the details.
Yeah, and while you were doing that, we were getting spirit ball action too, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
out in front of you in a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
There was some pretty cool stuff.
And the person that was coming through, you could kind of hear, like Japanese.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was.
Yeah. It was.
It may have been, but I do remember hearing every time I would hear the Japanese voice, I would hear what sounded like, you know, like those old timey baseball like sounds where they like stadium, like
Yeah.
you know, that kind of reverb. That's what it would sound like. It wasn't like a radio.
That's interesting because I was talking to a baseball
Yeah,
player.
on the other side of the wall from where you are is the
Well,
baseball display.
When I was sitting in there, I started by myself,
Yeah.
and later on Lisa came, but I had put a meter on the floor and I put a spirit ball, and he was setting like both of those off, and I was just asking questions. Like I said, is any of this stuff in here yours? Yes.
Right
So
up,
I kind of
yeah,
went around
right.
and I pointed to like, you know, the different factories and all that stuff, and then I got to the picture of the
Forgot
baseball
the
players, and I said, are you one of these baseball players? And he said
I
yes.
remember that.
So then I
I don't know
took
why
my
I didn't
finger
click.
and I
Yeah.
went along, and when I got to the one guy, it lit up, and I was like, just to make sure, let me do this again. So like I went through and it lit up
Yeah.
on the same guy.
You were with Lisa,
Um, I was by
She came
myself at
later,
first.
yeah.
Oh, then, okay.
Then a couple people came in and he quit answering, and when they left I was
Probably
like, do you get
nervous.
nervous around people? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't like when a lot of people are around either. And he's like, yeah. And like he's like, you know, I get kind of. So and then later on Lisa came up, and I'm not sure, I don't remember, like we did get a name, I believe. Because
Yeah, but I don't.
Yeah, it was
I
a
can't,
J
we'll
name.
have to go back and
Was it?
No, Damon.
Damon?
Damon or
It might have
Damien. I
been.
think it was one of those.
Damien.
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 Yeah.
Damien.
It was Damien. I remember.
Yeah.
that.
Told you, when we start talking about it, it
But
starts
we-
to click. I
We
remember
found
now.
out he didn't work, like wasn't originally from there. We asked him like, did you work at the button factory or any of the local factories? He said no.
Because the baseball
Um,
leagues were associated with the businesses,
In
right?
baseball was really
But
big.
he was probably he was probably a ringer
Or he was farmed
that
in.
they brought
they
in.
got these little, you know.
Yeah.
That's cool though, because you got to think. So it's technically one big room that we're talking about.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like
they
a
put up
divider.
They put this little divide in the middle. Yeah, half of it is like antiques, and then the other like side of that half is like the baseball stuff and more local stuff, and then the right side of the room is all military. They got
Yeah.
old weapons, uniforms, medals, everything.
And
And
I had something up there was made out of human bone.
They
What was that?
did. What
they
was
did. It was
Is it a
a
comb?
no. It was
crap. I can't remember.
yeah.
Shiv.
A
He's
knife.
going back to his prison days.
At least if it's the one I'm thinking of, there was
I think
one that
it
was
was
a
a
knife.
I think I showed you because what's
It's in
her
the
name?
back right
Is it
middle,
Emily?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She had showed it to us, and I was like, oh my god, so
Oh,
I
yeah,
was
I
like
remember-
taking
yeah, I came
everybody
up.
to it. I'm like, that's made of human
I came
bones.
up and you were
Just
like, did you see the human bone over
We
there?
don't-
You know,
don't-
normally I wouldn't touch
Yeah.
a human bone like that
You still should.
without doing. I did.
And he
I
tells
didn't know
us.
what it was. She goes, "Here, look at
How do you
this,"
not know?
and hands
Wait,
it
she
to me.
handed it to you?
And I'm and
It
then she
wasn't in a
tells me
case?
it's
It was
human
in a
bone.
case, but she
So
hadn't pulled
I was
it.
already in my
Okay.
hand then. I'm like, "Oh,
Wait.
that's great."
Before we forget, we have to talk about the little George Washington girl in the picture of the fire.
Okay, so that was the weirdest thing
Yeah.
I have ever seen on a ghost hunt.
Yeah, so in the middle of these two rooms, which was the original fireplace from that room, they had this portrait
Oil
of
painting,
like
big oil painting.
Like an
bunch of
old time
different
with George Washington
people.
was on a horse.
George
I think.
Washington riding through during
yeah.
the inauguration.
Yeah.
a bunch of several famous, even natives were in there.
Yeah.
But there was just in the
Little
corner of
girl.
this picture, a little probably what I guess would be like a 5-year-old girl.
Yeah.
They painted it's George Washington's face.
With a powder wig
No.
and George Washington.
I don't
just
know
a
if it was
smaller
meant
version.
that way.
I mean,
or-
no, it had to be. It's
It's-
the exact. I took a picture. It's the exact. The artist just duplicated George
The face that
the
he
face
painted up here.
for Washington
Yeah.
on this little girl
We
body.
have a picture of that
It was kinda
somewhere.
creepy.
Well, no, on the Facebook Live, Aiden was watching, and I think maybe Ronnie, a couple people were watching, and I took like the live,
Yeah.
and and everybody was like laughing
It was-
because they're like,
yeah,
what the heck is
yeah,
that?
it
It was also kind of creepy because you're like, you expect a little girl, but then you see George Washington.
Yeah, like,
You know,
like
it's
a grown
some
man
weird little face.
face on
Yeah,
a,
Emily randomly pointed that out, and she was
Yeah.
like,
Remember
what is
that.
this? And I'm like,
yeah, I mean, it's an oil painting. It's not an accident.
No.
I want to know
it's
what
not.
the thought process is. This guy's
Not to mention,
this guy's
humor, I think.
painting all these different.
I wanna-
He probably was getting bored. He's
let's
like,
probably
you know
just, I
what?
wonder
Keep
if
'em-
anybody will notice.
This painting was from 1860
It was
something.
old, yeah.
1860 something. And that guy had that kind of humor, sense of humor back then. Someone later on down the line
Yeah.
will see this, I don't know, I just, it's,
I thought it was funny.
It
It is
cracked
pretty
us
funny.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was very strange.
but yeah, the uniforms I really liked.
The uniforms
They
were really
had-
cool.
What was that, the 1700 war, I can't think.
Revolution?
Yes. They had a revolutionary uniform, authentic one.
Really?
Yeah. What in that right to the left of the fireplace, that uniform, that blue one, that's the
Oh,
one.
also-
Oh yeah,
That's-
because I had the SLS camera and it kept picking up
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that corner over
She
there.
did. We were she and I don't know if it was Chrissy, but somebody else also were getting, or maybe Tom. And we also saw like Tom, I think it was Tom and I, a shadow right there.
Yeah.
Are you
Going
talking
across
about
the wall behind the camera?
the case
Didn't
kind of
we get
leading
something with
towards
that?
like that kitchen area?
No,
or
when you
whatever it
first
was?
go in that big room with the fireplaces immediate to your right, the uniforms over here, it's right beside the
On the
fireplace.
second floor.
Didn't you
right-
get something
right to the
with
left of the
the SLS
painting.
camera over there too by the uniforms?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
if
must
you
have
like,
forgot the I missed the SLS.
if you like
camera.
antiques and military memorabilia, check this place out. You guys
Yeah.
really. We'll try to link it in the description.
Let's
of
see.
YouTube.
So also upstairs, Lisa, Hunter, Chrissy, and I. That's where we were talking to the nurses.
Yeah, there was a room with a big. Was that the one with the big spinning wheel in it too?
No, it was a bicycle.
Oh, it's a bicycle,
Okay, I remember
yeah.
the big-
There's a
we
giant-
played
It was
this
one
with
of
the
the-
spinning
yeah,
wheel, so
tire.
I'm like,
Yeah, that's
but
what
there
I
was a
thought it
bunch
was.
of
Okay.
pictures of like graduating classes of nurses, and then there was like a giant needle on a table and a bunch of like medical
Bathroom door
equipment.
just opened.
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah.
No, it's upstairs. It's
Oh, I thought
okay.
I was gonna say. I was like, I just.
But yeah, all the like medical stuff
Yeah.
was in this room.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
there was, and then some other stuff too. But yeah.
yeah, we got a lot more about the nurse stuff in the basement too.
And we got a nurse that had
Yeah,
a
remember
crush
when we were on
on
the live?
Lance.
That's how I figured out
Like,
she worked in the
I
hospital.
wanted
There
to
was
shoot him in the
before.
butt with the big needle.
A famous doctor that did something there, and the nurse you guys were talking to actually did say some of that
Nurse
about him.
Judy,
That was-
Nurse Judy. Yeah, Judy. Yeah, she
Lisa
liked
and
you.
I believe, she
I think-
said she got him on the rods when we were up there by ourselves, and he pointed at a picture there where the other fireplace
Yeah.
used to be.
Lance and them were up there with
Yeah,
Oh,
we
you
were
were up there
there
with that part?
too.
He was the pointer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was instructing
She
Lance
actually
on where to
pointed
stop.
herself out on
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
her in that picture.
And then I think
Oh.
Chrissy was
Yeah.
like teasing. You're like, "Ooh, you just like you answer Lance. You think he's cute?" And the rods are like, "Yeah."
Well, so wait, you
And they
guys,
kept following Lance.
you guys found out on the rods who she was in the picture?
Mhm.
Because we found out.
rods in the EMS.
We heard the name,
And
and,
then you
we
got-
went back to the picture ourselves and looked at it, and was like, because remember they had names above every single person.
That was Marissa.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Tipton, that's right.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, we got 2 nurses came through actually very clear. So much so that we know like it was Judy and Marissa Tipton.
Yep. Worked at the hospital. Judy worked there. In
Judy
1854.
also wanted to show us one
Yeah.
of her blouses.
Do you want to talk about how that part or?
Well, how that part came about was I was standing in between the rooms, and then down the hall where the closet was, there was a light in there, and I saw that the light would go.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
something
like,
would
that's
block it.
weird. And then you had said something about you had went in there and you thought there was something in there.
It had a
But,
weird feeling. And by the way, the Historical Society, Barb and them, they said that people had weird things happen in there too.
Mm.
So we had asked Judy if there was anything else she wanted to show us, and she said yes. So I'm like, okay, so let's go. And the rods took me out of the room, and then they pointed down that hall, and we're like, well, what's in there? And you said it was a closet. So we went in there, and
Yeah, I pulled out shirt by shirt,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just to, and we finally got
we
there was
asked,
a
"Is
white
there something of yours
ruffly.
in here?"
Yeah.
And it said yes.
It was a white ruffly shirt, and then she said that that was her shirt that
yeah,
she
you must
wore.
have pulled out like 20 different.
Yeah, I
things.
pulled
Mm,
out
it was
like
like,
She's like, nope,
No,
no.
no.
it was like
Ding,
near
ding,
the
ding.
end, and she's like, yep.
Yep, that's it.
That's
So-
funny.
And you guys were like, "You just want to show us that?"
But
And
it
she's
was
like,
neat.
"Yeah."
Like she
Yeah.
was like,
I
this
just wanna
is
show
something
you
of
guys.
hers.
It's fine,
You know?
you know.
Yeah, the
And it was a
historical
tiny
society.
shirt, so she's petite lady.
She's a petite lady, yeah. The historical society just, you know, the stuff that from the hospital and things, like they stored whatever, you know, was left over there, and could have been from her locker in the hospital, who knows? But
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say too that we love the Historical Society. We might have already said that. Barb, hello. We're going to be doing some other things with Barb and Historical Society coming up in the future, so stay tuned for that. Some
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Judy also said that they had a big syringe up there.
The big needle.
No.
The needle was
Yeah,
like
that
this
thing was
long.
freaky.
Yeah, yeah, like the
Freakishly
Judy, we were like,
long.
"Did you use that?" And she was like, "Yeah, you know."
So we had to.
Now,
Go
which
through your
nurse
damn
was
thigh.
it that pointed out her grandfather? Was it Marissa or was it Judy?
The grandfather
It was
in
the
the
one on-
He was
picture.
also a
yeah, that was
doctor.
Marissa, because it was when we were looking at the picture. You said was
That's how we got Marissa's last
Yeah.
name. The nurse's photo didn't have the last name.
no, they did.
I don't think. Did they?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we had the other nurse's last name.
Oh.
We had Judy's last name.
But yeah,
but we
I think it was
couldn't-
Marissa's grandfather was a doctor there
at
too.
the hospital,
At the
which
hospital,
is when she
yeah.
started working after that. Yeah.
And yeah, I wish we could go to the hospital, but now it's cut up into apartments.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't get in there. And who wants to if it's cut up into apartments?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Excuse me.
I was confusing a little bit with the Mansfield because we also had the same thing where we had a woman come through and direct us to her photograph.
Yeah.
Mansfield.
At
Oh,
The
college.
university.
Yeah.
I like it when they have photographs and the good spirits can actually point who they are out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
and you can-
actually happens more than you would think.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we
And that was
go
the
one
one-
by one and it's
In
something
Mansfield,
yeah.
we possibly found who it was. We're not 100% sure,
Yeah.
but there was a woman who matched up online that I found out that
Yeah.
went there for what she said she was going
Yeah.
for, and
Cool.
Let's see. We talked a
We had
bit
that,
the
to
basement.
The
Frank.
basement one. Oh, Frank came out
Frank
in the
was in the
basement,
basement,
too.
yeah.
He was somewhere else though first, wasn't he? Like upstairs?
Frank came out as a crotchety old man at 1st.
Mhm.
Where we're at?
Yeah.
Was it upstairs?
Down- He's in the
In the
basement.
In the basement.
Yeah.
okay.
I think all of
yeah.
stuff is in there.
Another group had been, and I'm not
Putting down anyone.
No, not putting down anyone, but I think they interpreted it a little wrong. Somebody had said they sensed a dark presence there.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't pick up anything dark. We
Grouchy.
picked up a grouchy old man who, once you got to know him, opened up. Once
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
realized, all right, these guys are okay.
They're okay. Yeah.
But
Well,
we
the-
flat out asked.
The previous people had moved the stone.
Yeah,
His tools.
they moved his tools.
And I think
stuff.
he got a little grumpy about that.
Yeah.
And I would,
You
you know,
gotta
like
think
an old
this-
man, he had
And
his
those
stuff in
tools
his
have probably
place.
been in that
Tool
space for
connection,
however
yeah.
long, and then somebody comes in out one day and just
Yeah,
moves.
well, we flat out asked them both with the rods and on the spirit box
Yeah.
and got an answer. Are you what these other people thought was the dark entity? And he said, yeah.
You could
On the spirit box, and he said the same thing on the rods too. Like he sounded like a grumpy
This is
old man,
why I
you
like
know?
the spirit box and why we do them a lot. Is 'cause a lot of times you can hear the tones and how these people say things, so
And
you can
even
tell.
on the rods when they come through, I know sometimes
Yeah.
they do, and they'll just be like really hard or
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just the impression when I give an answer,
Yeah.
and I think he gets mad because he thinks I'm grumpy, but sometimes it's just the way that
I mean, maybe
Kinda
she's
conflicts a
more
certain
into
way, or
maybe like how like the spirit box.
he's like, "Why are you
Can
angry?"
affect
I'm like, "I'm
people.
not.
Yeah.
It's
They-
the rods."
Yeah. there's-
Something
she's
she's
picking up the
feeling
energy
it. Her
that's
yeah,
manipulated.
exactly. Which
Yeah.
would make sense because she's attuned to him.
I can see that.
Yeah, but like yeah, so you could tell he was just a grumpy
He
old man.
didn't. He was a woodworker, and he had some of his personal belongings, and we'll get
Well,
to
yeah.
one of them in a second. There was,
Do you want to
and we're
talk
not
about
sure.
the stones
Yeah.
first? Like the
well, what I was going to say, there was some old stones down there that were his, that he
That-
felt protected.
And they
Originally
did
Native
have-
American
No, they
stones
had
used
like
for
the
control
Yeah, they were
handwritten, like where
grinders and
people
grinders, yeah.
held them, like the
Yeah.
Yeah.
thumbprint.
It was part of his personal
And
culture.
Yeah.
Frank really liked those, and this other group had messed with them without asking him, and he was mad. And so they picked him up as this dark. They thought it was
Well,
something.
he probably figured we were
malicious.
coming in like them. You know,
Yeah.
we were gonna
and
mess
he,
with his
turns
stuff.
out he wasn't malicious.
No,
He was just
He's
angry.
a woodworker. He
Annoyed.
didn't like other people touching his tools and his personal, you know. He told us that those rocks, somebody gave them to him and asked him to take care of them. So he was trying to, you know, and when people were messing with him without asking, he's not able to take care of them.
And by the way, when they removed one of those rocks and put it up in the museum,
Oh, he got
a couple weeks
mad.
before, he got upset, started making things happen.
Yeah.
I want to say too, before you guys got all that Frank stuff, because I didn't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I was down in there setting up, and I put a cat ball on a chair,
Oh, I remember that.
and I'm sitting here doing things, adjusting the camera, and the cat ball starts going off. I said, you know, I'm like, oh, are you the guy that owns, you know, because I thought it was probably a Native American. You know, they're Native American rocks. I thought that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Video on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube.
And I'm saying, well, are these your rocks? Right? You know, yes, shine up,
Yeah.
no, you know. And I said, are you Native American? No. I said,
Yeah, you asked like 4 times.
yeah, because I really thought that that would be the case.
Yeah.
Right? And then no, I said, well, are you white? And he was like, he had the conversation with me in the basement, and I did say something like, well, we're going to be enjoying talking to you.
Yeah, so like we just it was pretty cool. We had
Yeah,
a lot of
so
spirit box
Shane-
stuff.
With the
Was getting Frank at first, and
Yeah.
it was a little.
And he
This,
seemed to respond well to me, but I am an older guy too, maybe.
yeah.
Maybe he just
sorry,
really
the
did.
puppy is cute, and he was yawning all day.
No.
And then I did come back down later, and I got more action, and I have all that. I put some of those already up online too.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, the rocks, and you already said it, but like, and you did too. They are very old. They were river stones that native peoples had used for grinding and things like that. Like they were carved out where they had
The
actually
thumb
very
groove.
comfortable
Yeah, you could just-
grips.
Yeah.
You know, and
And then the little dowel
and
spot in
yeah.
there.
this is
What? Did you say little?
I would say about 800 to 1,000 years old. I would
Mhm.
say.
Probably, yeah.
a lot of like I think Lisa, you sense that like you know somebody else had moved them. They might not want us to touch them, so I guess you asked them like if we could pick them up. And,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we thought they were natives, like
Yeah.
they
So
belonged.
we
Yeah, we thought natives were attached
Yeah.
to them, but it wasn't.
it
And
wasn't. It was
Frank.
the caretaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
was Frank the caretaker?
the caretaker of the rocks.
Just the rock.
No,
Yeah.
So
he,
what-
he
no,
was
why would he?
there for apparently from what you guys told me because it has some of his equipment and stuff were his tools.
His
So he
tools
used
were
to
the-
work
and the
there.
rocks were there.
I don't know if he's stuck there all the time, but I think he, you know, he's watching out
It's
for
his
his
stuff. No, historical. I don't think he. I don't think we found any attachment to the building. The Historical Society ended up with some of his belongings.
Well, that's
Right,
what
and
is
it's probably
probably
the
makes
biggest
sense.
group of his stuff that's left.
Probably.
So that's, probably the only thing left.
Everything else probably just got divided up, or
Did you want to
It's
tell
lost
him
over
what he
time.
pointed you to in the basement, Lisa?
Yeah, well, down in the basement, I think it was right after the rocks. They just kept, we were just like, is there anything else of yours? And they kept just like pointing kind of like forward. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go on an adventure. And we're going to duck and dive because all the pipes
You
and
lost
things
stuff
and
in
just
there.
whatever. So after, a little maze.
There was a lot of stuff down there.
Yeah.
Well, I know being tall, 5'4", I almost killed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually it kept pointing to the right, and there's a bunch of stuff there, so not even thinking anything on the wall. So we're just like, oh, well, there's a crib. Is this your crib? And it's like, no, and da-da-da-da-da. And I think that's how we found out that he was a furniture maker. Just from that. And I think it was you that had saw it on the wall.
It was like a big
Like, it's
saw
huge.
type, like, cutting tool.
Yeah.
And we were like, is that yours? And he said,
Yeah.
yep.
You guys were talking to him. There were, 2-3 dozen chairs that were over 200 years old down
Yeah,
there.
he pointed to some of those.
Excellent.
Too.
Yeah,
I think he
was
said
he
he made
connected
some
to
of
those?
those chairs too, or
yeah,
something. I
They
think
were
that
all
was.
the same.
I think that was
they're all
also
the same. They
spirit
hadn't been
box.
made by the same person.
They were old as.
And they were
Yeah, they were
probably
old.
a
I
good
think he
100 of them.
also directed you to a planer.
I think so
Up there.
too. Yeah.
One of those
Yeah.
hand planers.
Yeah.
The hand saws were up there on the wall, and the planer was like
Yeah, the
relative
great
right or
big,
something.
the biggest one up there, the longest one, that was his.
Well, I mean, and that thing probably was expensive. Like that was probably like one of his prized, a big freaking saw back in that,
Yeah.
But it seemed after he realized that we were respectful and, we just wanted to learn more
And
about him.
interested
He
in
was
his
super
stuff.
excited to show us, about.
And we asked, like, oh, is it okay if we touch these rocks? And then,
And at
instead of
first he
just-
was like, no.
He's like, yeah. And then you were like, oh, we'll be respectful, we'll put them back, and he's like, all right, I guess so.
Keep in mind, it wasn't like he just let everybody touch him. So like,
No,
I did ask
He
him
wanted to
beforehand if I could touch him. He said yes.
He let me
But I
touch
told him
him.
we were Native Americans, and I thought he was Native American.
he
Yeah.
wouldn't let me touch them, and I don't know if it's because I'm a white male. And
He let me
she's a
right
female.
away.
oh, that's
It's a
true.
big difference. We know that females have a lot more pull.
Well, you're young. You don't have any respect for them.
You don't even respect. Yeah, no. But yeah, he wouldn't let me for a while. And then Christy was at one point was like, well, he's a really nice guy. He's very kind. And then he eventually said yes. He's like, I guess. But
Fine.
I only grabbed maybe one or two. I didn't want to manhandle them all.
Yeah.
Just because obviously he didn't want me to
He
really
let
touch it to
me, I
begin
looked
with.
at
So.
all. I looked at every single one.
Yeah.
I gave him good luck. And he seemed, he seemed to be
Yeah,
pretty
but like I said during that's
You're
when
also
we asked
native.
him, are you the dark entity of the other group? And he's like, yeah.
He probably knew the value behind them.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah,
He said, what?
that he was
He knew
the
I was
dark
dark
entity
dark.
that they,
Yeah.
I think with me, we're probably the same age when he passed. We were close-ish.
Yeah.
And he knew I would.
He also knows you're an old grump,
And I know we've mentioned
Don't let
this
me
like
kick
a
you
bunch
under
of
the table.
other times, but a lot of times, like when people like think that there might be something like dark or whatever, there a lot of times it is just some grumpy old man
Yeah.
or woman.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
People are
the
people,
woman
no
could
matter
be.
their life.
In our experience, we don't really meet many grumpy women. It's always the men.
No, we've had.
We got a couple
We've
grumpy
had a
men.
couple.
That's a few.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I don't really remember off top. I remember
There was
we've
grumpy
had
towards
several men.
grumpy towards me at you guys. This will be on our
Oh,
YouTube.
my
Go to the
girlfriend. She
yeah.
wasn't old, but she
one of
was
our
grumpy.
podcasts.
towards
Yeah,
you.
that woman was grumpy towards me. The one who
The one that thought that she was my
thought Chrissy was
girlfriend.
gorgeous, and she did not like me
He
at all.
sat
She was
down
pretty
next to me and he
grumpy.
put his arm around me and she got all
The
mad.
leader was like,
Yeah. And then he let go and it like went down.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got Frank, we got lots with
Judy,
Seth,
Sarah.
Judy, Sarah. That was another one. It's always really cool when we get direct and then instantly with the Historical Society sat there the three of them, right,
Yeah.
were there the whole night with us,
Yep.
and were verifying as we went along the information.
Yeah, they're looking
that
at
we
stuff
were
right
getting.
up in the file.
Yep.
Yeah, we're radioing to him. Hey, this,
Yeah,
we
which
got
is
this
really
name,
nice.
yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
So, and it because it's like you said, it helps validate what you're getting is actually true. You
Yeah.
know, and you have proof to back it up.
Yeah.
And then it's cool because the people there are like, oh
Like,
my god, like they get super
oh, this
excited
is
a lot of
real.
times. They're
Yeah.
like, holy crap, you've got, I got
Yeah.
this in my files. Like,
Yeah, and Bob said we've had more action there than anybody that's been here before.
We
Even
do
Tom
get
had a lot of good stuff
of
going on.
activity as
Yeah.
a whole.
That's
I feel
true.
like
That's true. Well, I think we're a good group. We go in with a sense of humor.
we're more in tune with,
Yeah.
and we don't
and we
demand
treat
or
them
conjure
in a
or,
certain
you know,
way.
well, we
respect.
treat them like
With respect.
people, like other people.
Was it at that one?
They are. You know?
Which it might have been at Seth Gates' house. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I should have researched more. Where we had somebody with us, a member of one of the groups, who was like like one of the historical society, who did not believe in stuff. And then by the end of the night, they're like, okay, I'm
71
That was at the
West Barn
hotel.
Grill.
The
Oh,
Camping Bar.
yeah, that's.
He was down there, and we're like, oh, you
He's
can
like,
come
I don't-
join us.
I don't
And he's
believe in
like,
ghosts.
Peter, yeah.
Yeah, and then by the end, he's like, oh, I believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
I'm not going up
This
there.
is legit.
He said I didn't believe it. He won't come upstairs at
Well,
all.
Yeah.
That's another episode we have up, right?
I don't think we have it up. We have one coming up. With that, we gotta record that.
Oh, we did.
I don't think we did
recorded that
71
yet?
West Barn Grill.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I don't know if it's on a YouTube, it'll be listed
Yeah,
as 71 West Barn Grill. If not, then
Make
we
sure
have
you
to
check
record
out our other podcasts. Let's see, any other?
the basement where we were going live. We had a lot of stuff, but like I said, I should have did more research. I can't remember. It was last minute that we decided to do this one.
Yeah. Well, we just got, you and I did the spirit box in the basement, and we didn't get anything. I mean, we got stuff. We didn't get anything revolutionary. What we got was things confirming all the stuff
we've
that
already
they
got
that you guys had already got.
upstairs and stuff.
Yeah,
so
like Frank, that he was, he was the thing that the other group was,
he owned
was
those
afraid
tools,
of. That I think we got that he kind of liked making people feel uncomfortable
yeah.
when they came in the basement.
Yeah, I got a little tickle out of
Which
it.
is why
You know.
they probably thought he was the evil or
Yeah,
bad.
yeah,
whatever.
I
'cause
mean, it
like,
probably gets boring. He's probably just
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna.
I can tell you right now, if I die and I decide to stay around, I'm gonna be all kinds of different things to lots of people.
Depending on
I'm
the
gonna
day.
have fun. I'm gonna scare the shit out of
Yeah,
Richie.
some days you'll be afraid of the ghost. Some days you're gonna
I'm
throw
having
things
a
at
bad
people's
day.
heads.
I'm gonna throw a knife at
I'm
somebody.
gonna be pranking people. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. But no, we got it was Marissa. Marissa worked at the hospital in 1854,
Yep.
and we looked at it was her dad started working at the same hospital like almost 10 years prior. I think it was the doctor we saw on
Yeah.
the wall. We got that and we verified because the picture on the wall
Yeah.
was from 1956 or like a
Yeah.
couple years after. So we
We also found that Judy worked at that hospital for 30 plus years, from like the 50s up until like the 80s,
late
80s.
80s, yeah, 87 I think.
Yeah.
Now that it was Seth Gates that started that hospital. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
But that place has a lot of stories by itself,
I wish we could.
including the like tenants.
If you know
Many
any,
of them, I guess, have left because they were.
yeah.
I'm sure.
If you guys are watching, you know any abandoned hospitals or asylums close to Western New York or North
Jails, prisons.
Western PA,
Yeah.
drop them in the comments,
Northwest
please.
PA.
We've been dying to do one, but there's not really that are available for us to get to or
And a lot of them
that don't have
homes.
restrictions.
But you said
Oh, I
you had
remembered one other thing. There was the room with the hospital stuff, and then there was the room with the bookshelf and like the instruments
Oh,
and
the
stuff.
kid-
Yeah.
the
We
kid
talked
stuff.
to a little boy, I believe it was a little boy,
He's like
and he liked to
5.
play the drums. And he pointed us to a book on the shelf, and when we pulled it out, it was a music book, like that he liked to like.
Oh, that was in that little
use.
room adjoining to that.
Yeah.
But it was like he had said that he liked to play the drums. That wasn't his. I don't think that was his drum in there.
No.
But he pointed to he pointed out
I
the
forgot all
drum.
about that. We
But
were
then he
getting
pointed
big
out the
readings,
music
too.
book because I pointed to all the books, and when I pulled it out, it was like a music book which went along with the whole. He liked to play the drums, so that was kind of neat.
It's funny because we did go in there. We were getting big spikes and cat ball action in that room. dramatically. There on that where that the dais was, and over there where that little, what was it, uniform or Boy Scout uniform?
Oh,
Yeah.
the kids, it was like a
Yeah.
sailor suit or
Oh,
something.
yeah. Sailor
yeah.
Yeah, like a
Those
little
two
like
places,
kid sailor suit.
everything was light
Mhm.
or was going
Yeah.
off like,
Yeah.
but nothing in between.
No.
Or any part of the other room, except when she was going to that book, because I remember somebody was,
Mhm.
maybe it was me over there. But yeah, I forgot about that room. That's another room where we had some
Oh.
activity.
Yeah.
Oh, and in the foyer upstairs, what's that called, Leslie?
Yeah,
The
and that's like the
landing,
landing, they
yeah.
kinda,
We had cat ball and rip pod action in there too.
Wasn't there like some
there was
outfits
a dress
on
that
mannequins?
was
Couple
like
of-
spiking the
Yeah.
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 I forgot. Remember when we were setting up? I put that cat ball in the back left corner of the basement, and I had that. Well, you did, I think, originally. I went to put a camera down there with a cat ball, and the cat ball started going off like crazy, and I was like, you know.
Yeah.
And then after I radioed that one in, that one stopped, and the one behind me that you put on the barrel in the corner, that one started going off.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean,
So
and
many
that's
different places
back there in
with
the
cat
middle.
ball activity in the
Absolutely
basement.
nothing's
Mhm.
at. You know. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
I do think there was a couple other things here, but they just were kind of drowned out by Seth Gates and Frank and the
or they
nurses.
just didn't really
Yeah.
care to come through. You know,
Yeah.
that's possible.
They're like, they got enough information.
They got it.
I'm
yeah.
down. You know.
But yeah, it was a good investigation. We had
It was an awesome place too. I love the history, the historical
Yeah.
stuff,
And,
and artifacts, and
We're going to be doing another
They teach
investigation
me.
there in June too, so
yeah.
we're going to do 2, and then we're going to also be doing potentially some public invitation events there.
Yeah, so look it up. Seth M. Gates House. It's in Warsaw, New York.
Yep. And if you
I
guys,
have the link on our webpage.
oh,
Yeah, there you go.
yep, SpiritHunters.Group, and make sure you stop by, tell them the Spirit Hunters sent you,
Mhm.
and check
Like-
out the
And be
store.
respectful of the stones in the basement.
Yes,
Yes.
it needs to be respectful.
I don't think the basement's open when the people.
I don't think
Probably
so.
not, but it's just good to be respectful.
It's just good to be
Yes.
respectful
Where we
in
go.
general.
Yeah.
But yeah, like and subscribe.
Well, I was just telling her about the Lions Club to add it to the page.
Oh.
That's why I did it like this.
I think is that about it then?
Yeah, like I said, you can find links to Seth M. Gates and all of our partners.
And
Bill,
look at
Roberts,
the history.
and
He did a
things.
lot of great things for this country. Saw people for people, not the color of their skin,
Ooh,
which was
Yeah. But yeah, SpiritHunters.Group, you can find that information. You can find links to all of our various social media platforms. You guys will be watching this on YouTube, so make sure you like and subscribe and things like that. Because
Comment.
we need to get those
Share.
YouTube numbers up.
Yeah, it's our
Uh,
slowest platform.
Yeah, it is.
Build.
And if you guys want to see some of our investigations live, make sure you subscribe to our TikTok and Facebook pages where we virtually take you guys along with us for some of our adventures and
right. And
spooky stuff.
in many ways,
And,
they could participate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool way to do it.
And the more you share and the more people start watching, if we can start to build up like more of a following and get some more funding,
Do some
like we could
bigger-
go to,
Further
other
places.
places,
We
get
can
some
come to
different
you.
equipment.
They can come
Wants
to you.
donate.
If you want to donate money,
Yeah.
we're not doing this
We'll
for
be happy
money,
to do
but
that.
it would be helpful for like future
Right.
equipment
I mean, there's a
and
lot of things
transportation
that
costs.
we
There's
would
a lot
do
of
if
yeah.
it wasn't cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Like we have.
it's not like we get paid to do this,
An inn
so.
to a Scottish castle,
Yeah.
but the expense to take the team and all the equipment over there.
Get
Passports.
everybody
Yeah.
passports and yeah.
But yeah, so make sure to check out all of our things. We have videos and clips and highlights on all of our various platforms. Lisa has a personal accounting of her spooky, crazy Canadian growing up days at ghostlychronicles.com.
We go live on Facebook and TikTok every single investigation. So if you want an up close personal POV
As long as
We have service.
service, yeah.
Because
like-
we live in the middle of rural
Yeah.
PA, New York.
So if you'd like to stay in touch with us and follow us on both of those, check out Lisa's. She needs to get her lives up, her likes and whatever else.
Oh yeah, Lisa's TikTok has a lot of cool stuff on it too.
Yeah.
What is
So-
it?
What's what? My TikTok?
Yeah.
It's Lisa_Marie_200.
And support one of our members, Bill Robertson's books.
I already mentioned Bill. That's a double
Yeah.
dose.
Yeah. All right, guys.
50 cents.
With that being said, thank you so much for watching.
Okay, little Shady hit the table every time.
I do that. You're happy.
Happy hunting.
See you guys later.
Bye.
I do that. Lisa pointed that out earlier. She's like,
you didn't used to. It was Shady.
yeah, I don't know
It was
why.
always Shady.
I was telling him too not to do it, and
He
I
does
still
it
do
so
it.
hard his fingertips turn white.
Yeah.
Smell it. What are you doing? What happened?
There's a box.
Fan.
The fan
The
motor.
room
Melted.
started to catch fire.